Our respiratory system is like a complex network of airways, carefully designed to transport air into and out of our lungs. This journey begins at the nasal cavity, where air enters our body. The nasal cavity is lined with tiny hairs and mucus, which act as filters, trapping dust particles and other impurities. Next, the air travels down to the pharynx, a common passage for both air and food. The pharynx plays a crucial role in directing air towards the larynx, also known as the voice box. Passing through the larynx, air vibrates our vocal cords, allowing us to speak and sing. The trachea, or windpipe, is the next stop on this journey. This strong, flexible tube is supported by rings of cartilage, preventing it from collapsing. The trachea then branches into two bronchi, one leading to each lung. Inside the lungs, the bronchi further divide into smaller bronchioles, forming a network resembling an upside-down tree. At the end of these bronchioles, we find tiny air sacs called alveoli. These alveoli are the primary sites for gas exchange, where oxygen from the inhaled air diffuses into the bloodstream, and carbon dioxide from the body is released to be exhaled. Breathing, also known as respiration, is the process of inhaling oxygen-rich air and exhaling carbon dioxide-rich air. This vital process is primarily controlled by the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle located below the lungs. During inspiration, the diaphragm contracts and flattens, while the intercostal muscles between the ribs also contract, lifting the rib cage upward and outward. These actions increase the volume of the chest cavity, creating a lower air pressure inside the lungs compared to the outside. This pressure difference causes air to rush into the lungs. Expiration, on the other hand, is a relatively passive process. As the diaphragm relaxes, it returns to its dome shape, and the intercostal muscles also relax, lowering the rib cage. This decreases the volume of the chest cavity, increasing the air pressure inside the lungs compared to the outside. This higher pressure forces air out of the lungs. The alveoli, those tiny air sacs at the end of the bronchioles, are the stars of the respiratory system. Their thin walls, just one cell thick, are surrounded by a network of capillaries, the smallest blood vessels in our body. Oxygen from the inhaled air diffuses across the thin alveolar walls and into the surrounding capillaries, where it binds to hemoglobin in red blood cells. This oxygen-rich blood is then transported to the heart, which pumps it to the rest of the body, delivering life-sustaining oxygen to every cell. At the same time, carbon dioxide, a waste product of cellular metabolism, travels from the capillaries into the alveoli. This carbon dioxide-rich air is then exhaled out of the body, completing the cycle of gas exchange. Oxygen, once diffused into the capillaries surrounding the alveoli, binds to hemoglobin, a protein found in red blood cells. Hemoglobin acts like a specialized transport vehicle, carrying oxygen to the tissues and cells throughout the body. In the tissues, oxygen is released from hemoglobin and diffuses into the cells, where it's used for cellular respiration, the process that produces energy for our body. Carbon dioxide, produced as a byproduct of cellular respiration, travels from the cells into the capillaries. It's then transported back to the lungs via the bloodstream, primarily dissolved in the plasma, the liquid component of blood. Upon reaching the alveoli, carbon dioxide diffuses into the air sacs and is ultimately exhaled from the body.